groups, economical groups, capitalists,
Yeah.
so-called religious leaders, religious groups, that they think that they are casting this shadow that I know the truth. This is the truth. They themselves are in the cave, but on the other side of the table, they might be a bit free in their boundaries to roam around in their mental spaces, feeling proud that they are the truth bearers.
Yeah, they're not chained.
They're not chained, and we are happily colonizing the mind of people by giving them shadows to believe in.
Yeah.
They themselves are walking on the same path of delusion.
Yes.
Now what is the interesting bit here? Let's extend this thread a bit. When illusion is actually accelerating illusion in this example, what will happen in space and time tomorrow? When these people, these groups, they are thinking that they are actually the torch bearers, they are intellectual groups, they are the knowledge groups, while being in the same cave, behind these masses, and they will perpetuate their practice. Where would it lead in space and time tomorrow? Not into an ultimate chaos.
More of the same, repetition, loop.
All right.
Karmic loop.
Karmic loop. Karmic loop is like a vicious cycle of ignorance.
Yeah.
Nobody's getting out of the cave.
Yeah.
Nobody is ascending.
Yeah.
That reminds me of a story which I heard some months before. That there was a very, very perplexed seeker of truth. This man, he was questioning and trying to understand the abstractions of life. Whatever he kept on believing, he was feeling deceived. So he decided he will go to an ashram into one of the Himalayan cities and will find a very good guru who can open his eyes to truth. So he went. He reached to an ashram which he highly heard of. There was a very old person who was the guru in this ashram. He started living there and he started attending his sessions of this guru. So he used to go and sit, and this guru used to narrate a simple story to him. He used to listen to the story, he used to come back. Every day he was thinking something profound will come tomorrow. Next day also another simple story. 1 week passed. He started feeling a bit deceived. He thought, I was here to know the mechanics of life, the core engines to open the truth to me. But what he's giving just stories, it doesn't make a lot of difference to me. I think I got into a wrong place. And this started mounting in his head. This started rippling in his head. By the end of the second week, he almost decided, I'm going to leave this place. And the day he was about to leave, one young monk-looking person with a vibrant face entered into the ashram. And soon he got engaged in the talk with people there. So this seeker who was there for the last 2 weeks, he saw him talking and people listening, this young monk. He said, something is happening. He also joined in. And that moment he realized that this young monk traveler, he was quoting from Upanishads and Vedas and yogic sutras, talking about reality and illusion, Atman and Brahman. Everybody was mesmerized. So did the seeker as well. He said, wow, this is the personality of a guru who will tell you the mechanics of things, you'll get into it. Soon the guru also reached in. The old guy, he also joined in. 2 hours passed. This young monk stopped what he was explaining about reality and truth. He took a deep breath and looked at the people. Obviously, he knew that a lot of people were listening to him. He looked at people to see their state of mind, that if they are feeling convinced or not. In that process, he looked at the guru also. And he said, oh Guru, I would like you to comment on what I said about reality. The guru replied, for the last 2 hours, I'm holding my breath and waiting that you will speak. But you did not speak. How can I comment on your ideas or your explanations if you did not speak for the 2 hours? This young man was very much confused. He said, what? Did not you listen me talking about Vedas and Upanishads and truth and reality and yogic sutras and the life of human being into it? He said, yes, the same thing I'm saying. The Vedas, they were speaking. Upanishads were speaking. Bhagavad Gita was speaking. Yogic sutras were speaking. But you did not speak. When would you speak? This young man realized that what this guru was meaning. The higher the concept is, what my take on from this story, the higher the take on is, the higher the chances that you will get delusion into it. Spirituality is the area, or even all the metaphysical sides of subjects are the areas they are more prone known to actually trick us, that I know the truth.
Mm.
And I will be happily standing with that book behind these chained people and celebrating whole my life that I know the truth.
That's right.
But what I will end up in is that vicious cycle of karmic loop where I would be just facilitating ignorance and it will be turning into ignorance.
Yeah.
Who will ascend out of the cave?
Exactly. I think it's amazing how we can literally have the words and the ideas of the father of Western thought and have them perfectly sync up and match and the Eastern ideas as well. Because clearly the human mind has been debating these things of consciousness and awareness and what the reality is from every angle in every culture around the world. It's interesting having different stories effectively say the same thing. You almost need to hear it in different ways to really actually comprehend what it's going on about. The first time I heard about the Allegory, I read it, and I was like, okay, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to get out of this. It's actually by talking to you over the last couple of months, I've been expanding my ideas of it, because to really comprehend it, I need to hear it coming from your interpretation, your stories from your background, plus also reflecting it upon current circumstances of the world to really experience it. By experiencing the illusion here and experiencing what's going on here, you really get a better understanding of what people have been trying to say for thousands of years. It was only a couple of days ago we were at the post office and we saw the virtual reality headset. So if that isn't the epitome of the illusion of is a virtual reality in the reality around us, which is equally virtual. So we are cloaking and covering and deepening the illusion by putting more filters and more layers in front of that. So we are now looking at a fabricated world inside glasses, inside a fabricated world. It's crazy. And humans are actually really comfortable in doing this.
Yes, and it's getting more and more cascading.
Yeah.
It's getting cascading more and more, right?
Yeah. And it makes you think, first Plato will be turning in his grave going, what are you doing? Didn't you read my words? Same as all the gurus in the Himalayas are thinking exactly the same thing. We've been saying the same thing for so long and no one pays attention. So now we're living in a world where we are perpetuating, a cascade is actually a very good word. It's a cascade effect. We are deepening Maya, we're deepening the illusion, and we're projecting it onto our screens, and we're projecting it into our eyes, and it's covering everything. It really is covering everything. So our leaders are lying straight to our face. But if you're in the cave of a political party, if you are a Republican or a Democrat, and you're in those Republican or Democrat caves, that's the illusion you live. You think you're right, and the politicians waving, these are my ideas, and this is what. Or on a spiritual religious level, you have a spiritual religious leader saying, I have got the commandments in front of me, and they say this. Therefore, this is what we do, and no one shall question, because if you do, you're going to hell. So hey, so again, perpetuate the illusion, perpetuate the lies.
That's amazing, actually. I mean, the very simple question comes: if we were subject to live through a commandment, why we are actually created dynamically and into unique ways?
Yes.
If we are all subject to be programmed in our conduct, make every face same.
Yes. Exactly.
Make every thought process same.
Why have diversity when there's a strict rule book?
Yeah, why is the diversity? And if that creator is such a strong person, force, it's a matter of moment for him or her or combined to do this simple job.
Yeah.
They are sustaining such a big earth in each microseconds.
Yes.
Whole universe. What is a human being?
Exactly. Like, why bother sending rules down to something that's insignificant, because we don't live long enough to do anything? So where's it gone wrong? Is it that the humans crave? Actually, I think it's in my view, humans are born ignorant, so we crave someone to give us a guideline, something to follow, because we just don't know. Like we don't come with a conscious awareness of the world around us. It's probably there. It's probably in the background. I think in the back of our minds we know what's going on, but consciously we are unaware of it. We haven't discovered it, or we just don't know it. So we do crave order. If someone comes in and walks in and says, I have the answers, most people will be like, thank you, because I need answers. Because I've got lots of questions, but no one's answering them. So if you have answers, I'll listen to you. Because everyone's craving the answer, right?
Yeah.
But isn't it like the answers and the questions actually stem from inside? Most of the time, the question answers itself. But we live in this in the cave of delusion. So the person behind us waving the shadow book, well, it's almost like that's good enough. That's all we've got. So yes, that's what's wrong with it. And it takes a while to reach a level where you want to unchain yourself. And that's the thing. Those people in the cave who are bound there since childhood, how do we know that they don't want to stay bound? They want to stay in the cave or the matrix. They don't want to get out.
They are not the decision makers, actually.
Yeah.
All you are dealing with in the human body is some of the physical choices you can make. Look into your life. Your mind is talking on its own 24 hours. Can you switch it off?
I wish I could.
So when this mind force is actually driving on its own and you cannot simply switch it off to zero or the way you want, that means you are making very less choices. You are driven to hunger, you are driven to thirst, you are driven to attention, and that is all subconscious. It's not something which you are consciously thinking. That means in our body of this existence of being human, we have many layers: physical layers, metaphysical layers, mental layers, emotional layers, psychic layers. And they're, scientific words and philosophical words about conscious mind, subconscious mind, unconscious mind. They are ultimately translating into certain intelligences actually operating on various levels, enabling you to exist, like your breathing system. Now, what you said about cravings on order, cravings of knowledge, cravings of knowing the answers, this is something inbuilt phenomena, because you are actually an expression of intelligence, in other words, if I put in there.
Yeah.
So the way I see it is, you have a torch, you switch it on in its default state, it projects to certain area, and then you use certain means, books, education, behavioral learning, trainings, communication, etc., to expand the projection, like twisting the torch and to see more. Let's take a simple example. You meet somebody and he gets angry on you. You might say, oh, you're a stupid person. You're being angry. This is not the way to react. In other words, you can see behind his anger or her anger and try to see what mounted that anger. Is it the ignorance he's suffering with, or the anxiety or nervousness, or a misconception about me? That person might have got angry because he might have heard about you from somebody else, and in his mind he would be suffering that you said something about him or her, and he just could not stop him or her to express his anxiety in form of anger, and you took it as being angry on you, but actually that force started somewhere else. So the question is how much we perceive. And I see it, all the knowledge, even coming from the Plato, Socrates, or thousands of rishis in Indian subcontinent who scripted thousands of these sutras, is about expanding that projection, that how much you perceive. Because if you start to see that this person is not angry because he is angry, because this is a subconscious force which is driving him, that is driven by ignorance, you might start to feel compassionate, and you might start to engage with this person, to interact and to comfort him, to think differently. Same goes with work. You might start to see you're not working just to earn dollars, you're working to add certain value to certain group of people or the world. That might help you to make right decisions towards your work, and that would not end up into causing somebody a suffering. For example, manufacturing industry. We are producing so much electronic waste now, which is actually a big problem. But because our projection, our perception is not that much expanded, we only see it limited. The same goes with the international rivalries. Like one country see other as a rival because of certain interests. But if they get out of their egoistic comfort, and if they are limited perception, they engage and talk about something expanded, that collaboration would end up something meaningful and beautiful and sustainable for both countries. So, yeah, it's like a higher level interconnection I try to do with the idea of illusion, perception, reality.
Yeah. Well, there's plenty of things to mine out of this cave.
This cave is never-ending mining.
Exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, it is a subject that we can approach from many different angles. So, until we revisit this, it's been a pleasure, Atish.
Pleasure is mine.
Thank you guys for listening.
Thank you guys. See you soon. In the cave.
In the cave, exactly. See you all in the cave.
See you all in the cave.
You have been listening to the Lunchtime Special Podcast. Subscribe and like us on iTunes, Castbox, Spreaker and SoundCloud. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Or visit us at lunchtimespecialpodcast.com. Until next time.